Jim, who are some names we might hear in trade discussions coming up in August 1st there, or in the next month or so?
Yeah, next month. Well, I'll say this: Mets are going to be buyers. I mean, unless they're really far out, and certainly the Yankees. So they'll be active in New York. But for the Mets in particular, they need pitching, and they might decide to go on the offensive side. There's not a lot of offense available. A lot of this is dependent on if the teams that are currently struggling are out of it, right? So you look at the White Sox, you look at the Cubs, you look at the Cardinals. I think those teams are clear. They haven't made their decision yet. They're going to wait a little bit longer. But guys like Lucas Giolito and Lance Lynn, starting pitchers, their bullpen, Kendall Graveman, maybe even Tim Anderson. If you want to be a little creative with the Mets, you could try to trade for Tim Anderson, maybe add him to second base and move McNeil to the outfield. But with the Cardinals, they have a couple starters and a reliever, a really good one available. Flaherty, Montgomery, Hicks. I think even old friend Marcus Stroman there with the Cubs. Cody Bellinger would look nice in the outfield there potentially. So I think there are plenty of guys out there. Chapman's had a very good year. Barlow's an underrated guy below the radar. But I think if you were to look at it, the Mets are all in on this, but they need more than anything. I think they could use another starter, kind of a depth starter, and definitely some bullpen help if they weren't able to get in the offensive pieces.
Isn't it crazy that we're sitting here talking about the Mets needing starting pitching? That should be the last thing that they need after the way they built the team going into the year. And of all those names Jim just rattled off right there, who do you think makes the most sense?
Well, I love the names that Jim came up with. The first guy that I would go after, if indeed the Cardinals are finished as contenders this year, is Jordan Hicks, the relief pitcher, because I think their bullpen is really short, and we're seeing it night after night, blowing leads the way they have in recent weeks. That they need more arms out there. I mean, and that guy is just absolutely nuclear. I mean, you saw him against the Mets over the weekend. The stuff looked great. He's getting up to 104. I think there's a lot of potential there for him. And look, I mean, I don't know what it would cost, Sal, and what do the Mets have to give? Are they going to part with any of those precious young players?
Do they want Vientos?
Yeah, right. I mean, he
seems available.
I mean, maybe with Vientos down now, he could go rake at AAA and look like a shiny prospect, and maybe you could make that move there. But I would start with the bullpen, because the bullpen to me is a serious concern.
Yeah, I put down Jordan Hicks in my notes, too, just because I was there over the weekend and I saw him hit 102.2 miles per hour, and I was like, whoa, and he can throw faster than that. His one issue has been control. If that's something that Jeremy Hefner can work on with him, the Mets could get a real deal there. I also like Scott Barlow a lot. I feel like he's underrated. I feel like he'll be less expensive just because everyone's going to be going after Aroldis Chapman. But that is a high leverage arm in that bullpen. And so if you're able to round out that bullpen like that, maybe you can rely, if Max Scherzer, if Justin Verlander become the guys that everyone knows that they are, and you have Jose Quintana coming back, that could be something the Mets it could be a real big improvement for maybe not as much in terms of prospects.
No doubt they need help in the bullpen, which we could have probably predicted coming into the year, especially after Diaz went down. A shock, though, that they probably still need a starter, even if Quintana does come back.